Hello YouTube, it is Damien, it is the Rise of a Nation, it is episode 104. Today we have the Sidebait Pockley final against Bromby, and it's the first time in the final where we're going to use the 4-4-2. What also I am going to do today is I'm actually going to do the end of season review after this. We have the World Cup coming up, and I want that to be the next few episodes of the World Cup journey. Secondly, we've already won the league because we are that dominant this year. And Copenhagen and Midtjylland have just fallen off a cliff, you know. I think Copenhagen sat their manager even though they were in third because he went and lost, I think, 8 out of 10 matches with 2 draws. It was ridiculous, the sort of run they went on. It was putrid. It might not be that bad, but I'm pretty sure they went on a putrid run and they sat their manager on the back of it. It was something through like here that it was ridiculous. But as you can see, they've started losing a lot of games, which is unlike them considering they were undefeated for the first 11 games and second to me by only a couple of points. But yeah, since we've met, which obviously you guys have seen Wirtz do the business, obviously, against Nords. We've played one game, Midtjylland, Wirtz scoring 2, so guess what I'm going to do? Show you the goals Wirtz scored. I will note, I haven't generated a face for him yet, a regen face for him yet. I'm not confident enough in how I do it with the regen face pack with Zealand's face pack, so I will call someone or, you know, rewatch the video to a T to make sure I do it correctly and we get where it's a proper face. But until then, yeah. 1-0 down, which was obviously a little bit interesting inside 5 minutes. And the one thing I will notice about this 4-4-2, we don't dominate games in terms of the ball and the domination where the opportunities don't really come for the opposition. I feel like we concede a few more chances in this 4-4-2, but boy do we score. And Wirtz made a great run there and a good finish. But this goal here sums him up, ladies and gentlemen. Gets him behind, even though he's not the quickest, he's got 17 acceleration, and he just knows when to come deep in terms of when to drop lines in order to get on the ball and when to bloody go and get on it. By the way, this finish from Frank, not bad. Steadies himself, left foot, see you later, sealer, and not too bad as well. But yeah, we look good, obviously. In terms of the league, we won it quite a little bit ago. As you can see, 74 points. I think we actually won it by surprise here against AAB. Because someone lost, I think. Yeah, I think because Copenhagen lost and Midtjylland didn't win. I mean, mathematically, we did it at AAB, which is the earliest that I've done it so far. It could become earlier if the system really takes off. And it does look like this 4-4-2 is really going to be good here in Denmark, at least. I would have probably come live for this end of season review with a double. We've done the double, or, we've won the league and here's our chance at the double, but saw that league game. Unfortunately, because of just the results, and I didn't realise how far ahead we were, you don't get to see that. Anyhow, though, we have obviously FC Midtjylland, that we beat, but now we got Bromby coming up in the cup final, and it is a chance to do a double. Last year, we screwed the final. We conceded 94th minute and lost in a shootout against Silkeborg. Bromby arguably are a bigger side than Silkeborg, but aren't having a similar year than Silkeborg, 8th or 9th in their promotion league and whatever. I'm not going to drag this on too much, to be honest. I hope I don't anyway. But we have a lot to talk about in terms of the team, the squad, what I'm planning to do with the team. There's a few things going on. There's a couple of things we need to talk about first. First things first is Wirtz is surprised because I've called him up to the Denmark World Cup squad. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. Not the actual squad, the preliminary squad. But secondly, because of Wirtz's form, I've already made a decision that Lars is going to be the backup striker next year. So Hora will be used as the 4th choice. But more importantly is I've changed the system slightly. I've got Orbrecht, because he wasn't getting any good ratings, as a central mid on attack. And what it does, and shout out to AJ, and AJ watches the VOD back, because we are live, links down below. This is you, mate. By putting him on a centre mid on attack, you could tell him what you want him to do, because he's a central mid. He doesn't have any roles. So we're telling him to dribble more, shoot more, take more risks with his passing, get further forward, get into the channels, roam from the position. I'm basically giving him the freedom to do whatever he wants, to have someone alongside him that just sits in the deep line playmaker role, which is, of course, going to be, thank God for this game. Damien, why is Jeppe at right back if you have George available? When you look at Jeppe and compare him to our best inverted wing back, which is Eugene Neff, right? And this is why this is the end of season review right before we do it. Eugene Neff. Gonna have to look for Eugene, aren't I? No, I'm gonna have to look for Neff. There we are. Have a look at the attributes and highlight him for an inverted wing back on support. Alright? Have a look at them. I know they play either side, and Eugene currently is the best left back the best left back in the league at the moment, Eugene Neff. Yepi kills him, and Yepi also has got the same amount of tackling than him and better marking. Now, the reason Neff's so good is that he's physical. Look, Yepi isn't going to get in my team next year. Next year, for me, is all about, in the window, we should have the money to buy only players that are going to improve my team. And the way we're going to view it now, would these players that I'm buying in the future good enough to get into my mess winning Champions League team, my Sunderland Champions League winning team, or my HK Champions League winning team? Because I think now we've got to the stage where we have so much quality for Denmark and quality rotation and people that are going to be good. Can we get people now that are just of that quality to win me the Champions League? It's the next step. And that might take us 5 years to accumulate those sort of players because, reputation, Denmark League, it might take a few years to increase Denmark's league to the top 6 in Europe before we can even attract those big players. But that's the beauty of this save, right? Secondly is the reason why Yepi's out there is I'm training him to play right back. As an inverted wing back, Yepi is pretty good. The only thing Yepi doesn't have, right, is the pure physicals of Eugene Neff. But secondly, right, is that Yepi, as much as he is right-footed, doesn't mind playing inverted wing back because it means he's going to hover in the centre mid. Now, with that being said and done, if I can convert this guy to be an out-and-out inverted wing back on the right-hand side, Yepi's just gone from your stock standard centre mid that's good enough for Denmark, not good enough for the Champions League, to all of a sudden, hang on a second, if he becomes natural as an inverted wing-back on the right-hand side, he's one of the best wing-backs in world football because he's so well-rounded. So my view is, let's get Yepi doing that. The second thing is like the DJ, right? Same sort of build. He's got great passing, great tackling, great positioning, great work, great good physicals at 6 foot. He's been developing really well in League One, where he's playing in a relegation-threatened side, so he's not having a good time of it, right? But the DJ is another one that we can turn a centre mid into an inverted wing-back. And you've got to remember, Yepi's 23. You've probably got about a year or 2 years max to retrain him properly, right? The DJ's 20. He's going to have 21. He's going to have a few more years than Yepi, right? 24, 25 is about the time it drops off. I actually believe that we could train both of them into being very good inverted wing-backs. Now, the only thing is with the DJ, he doesn't have that natural dribbling ability, but he would be good as a left-hand side inverted wing-back because of the natural tackling. He's got good physicals, and there we go. Now, so my plan is to obviously buy well-known players. Biho's a very good backup here for Orbres, of course. We need to get him really learning this centre mid role, obviously, as well. And I do expect Biho to have a good year next year in Denmark, but more than likely, if we can get Yepi, we can get Neff to really become good enough, we're not going to be too bad. Lastly, we'll talk about the squad a little bit more in general when we get to the end of season part of this, because we've got other players coming back from loan that you want to see, like Lars. We're going to talk about Gamma, who's at loan at Gil Vincent, who could be our best next left back. And importantly, obviously, Diatta's still here, but we'll have a bit more of a chat about Diatta, and we'll have a look about what we're going to do with the team. But for me, it's not too bad. The rest of the team's not bad. There's a lot of interesting boys that, aren't being used at the moment. And there's interesting boys that are being used. And look, the George is a great backup to have because when push comes to shove, he can play right back really well. He can play left back and he can play left wing. The likes of someone like the George, who's so well-rounded, probably stays. But a few of these other lads could go. Like, thank God, probably he's now got to a stage where he's not good enough anymore to win me a Champions League that we've probably got to ship him. It is what it is. By the way, don't worry about this. Munizaga's not leaving. It won't happen. Now, let's refocus to the current day. I think we're good enough to win this game. I hope Wirtz goes in and bangs in a few, which would be nice. Secondly is I really want to do the double this year. Lastly, it is a cup final. We have to take this seriously, and away we go. Because then after the cup final, I actually have to pick my preliminary squad for the World Cup, which you will see next episode. Next episode is going to be World Cup squad, debate. Who we're going to pick, who won't we pick. And then it will also be the, it will then be probably the friendly lead-ups to the World Cup as well, and have a bit of a scout of our nations that we're playing, take it real serious, and then obviously the episode after will be the group stage, with the episode after that hopefully being the knockout rounds, and get it done over 3 or 4 episodes. Alright, anyway, back to this cup final. Westerberg we know is really good, right? We know Westerberg is really good. He had the potential to be amazing, never grew into it. Umut didn't get selected for me. Main reason is I don't think he has the technicals. Yeah, he's quick enough, but he doesn't have the technicals. I've got players that are that quick that can do a job either way as well. And the rest of the team is just your stock standard Bromby. Anyway, we are going to get to the tunnel here. It is cup final, so I hope so. We're prepared with the lads and look ready to give it a suitable performance. Of course, he's very important. He's an outstanding player And hopefully we can go and just get this knocked out, get this on the way, get a win. And then, yeah, I think we will be A-okay. Sorry, coaching thing. Actually texting you about something to do with real life coaching. Um, Anyway, 5 minutes played, 0-0 here at the start. And like I said, we don't dominate the possession stats as much as we're used to. But it is what it is. I really do like this 4-4-2 though. In the end, headed away only as far as Fran Perez. And Fran's actually liking playing deeper. Anyway, Fran now into Words. Words cuts it. Orbrecht blocked. Again blocked. Eugene Neff hits, and that is 1-0. And that's the thing about Eugene Neff, is that he gets as an inverted wingback into those sort of areas. He's on around the edge of the box. He is getting bombing on, And the reason with Neff is that he shouldn't be this good at scoring and he shouldn't be this good at playing defense-splitting passes, but he is. Imagine if we get a guy that is absolutely amazing at it in there, and it would be really good. For me, the left-hand side, Eugene Neff, because of his physicals, probably keeps his spot for another couple of years before we really look to ship him out or demote him to a rotation player, plus he's captain. But with the George, Yeppy would be amazing. I am going to, by the way, I'm going to get rid of these long throws because I think they give us more problems than not. I know why it's there, and I know why... that it works in this tactic as Orbrecht goes for goal. It's blocked, falls back to Raphael, and he really should have scored. By the way, Raphael has not looked good at all, but the centre mid on attack really lets him go, and he looks amazing in it. And sometimes you just got to play your best players in the system that works best, not in their best position, And that's probably being proven at the moment with the centre mid on attack with Orbrecht, is that he is just amazing at it. Anyway, Yeppy now with another short corner into Frank. We are 1-0 up here in this cup final, and Fran's been sold short, was never on for Frank's part of from Frank's view. I don't know what he saw, is what I'm trying to say. There was never a pass on there. In the end, though, we are looking good, 1-0 to the good. And the good thing about having, thank God, is he's good enough for a game like this. He's just not good enough probably to play in Europe. And it's probably the one thing we need is a very good deeper line playmaker on defense. Anyway, Neff going on a run. He goes for goal, and I'll tell you what, he had the keeper scrambling there. And in the end, Eugene Neff really, really enjoying this system and the ability to run from deep in this system and get at people. And we do look like the better team out here against Bromby. And unlike last year's cup final where he didn't make it tell, we've scored early, which is good. Anyway, Orbrecht is there. That's 2-0. And that's what I want to see from Orbrecht, getting really forward. When he's playing Mazzala on attack, he used to stop here and not get going. And then he would, play a ball and it would go wide, or, he wouldn't influence the game. And then he played advanced playmaker on attack. He would run into these spaces here and then try and shoot. This centre mid on attack, he really seems to get into the natural 10, right? Which he likes playing, and since we're not going to play with a natural 10, if we can get him doing that, it'd be really good. 2-0 up, but a set piece for Bromby here as Cole Manick gets on it, and Johansson back on it too, into Lindkvist, and they chip one forward to Umut, who heads down, and then Diatta back to Munizaga. And I have to give Diatta credit. He hasn't really grown, but he has looked pretty solid at the back, and definitely usable next year. Anyway, Munizaga going long, which is not a... Oh, what a ball. Umut's in. That's... Oh, my. Munizaga... Never mind. Well, that was a lot to untake. Munizaga, it's not in our mantra to go long, even in this system, but I guess he thought he could pick out Wirtz. Which, look, if you think you can pick him out, play it, but he didn't. In the end, this is great keeping. Goes at feet, wins it. Then Eugene Neff clears it into the guy's feet that Munizaga went in at. And it falls to Thorpe and he scores. You're unlucky if you're keeper. Anyway, the highlight straight away, Neff wins it though in Wirtz. This is what I like about the false nine warrior for Wirtz. He knows when to come deep, and that was it. Wirtz is going, Morton on his inside. Morton gets it. Big chance for Morton. Elbor keeps this cup tie still in the balance at 2-1 with a good save. Morton really should have buried that. But 2-1 up in a cup final, nothing wrong. Frank, Diatta volleys, Edberg with not the convincing save, but a save nonetheless to keep it at 2-1 as well. And the Bromby keeper having a good day out. And, we just need to put it back to 3-1 in the end. Wirtz is going to score in the cup final. Diatta, good header. Elberg only could get hands on it. It was probably creeping in anyway, but Wirtz made no mistake. He might be the youngest ever cup final scorer now. That might be a record that we have broken just then. But in Diatta, that's probably going in, but Wirtz makes sure of it. And I'm very tempted, because of his form, to call him up for the World Cup squad. I'm also very tempted to use this 4-4-2. However, I do not like the long throws. You watch me score from it now. Edberg punches. But I feel like the long throws cause more turnovers than what goal chances at the moment, because we're playing so aggressive. You know, if we don't win the flick on or whatever, it's just the break. And I don't particularly like it. So I think next year I'm going to bin it. If not, I might bin it after this cup final, because I've seen it for a few games now. It's a nice novelty to have, but I don't think it's worked. In the end, you know, they really should have done more with that, and that's a poor ball from Wirtz, and they're going to be back on it again. But it has all stemmed from... maybe he's showing me that he should have picked him. Bromby have done bloody nothing and scored 2 goals out of nothing, by the way. Again, it's just come from a long throw. It's all stemmed from a long throw which has turned over the ball. So, for me, I'm going to get rid of the long throws, because they could cost me this cup final. We never do it easy in a cup final, do we? They've had 2 shots on target, 2 goals. It is really getting annoying, that. In the end, half-time, we've had 17 shots, 11 on target. And do you think the game's been put to bed? No, because they've had 2 shots on target, and they both have gone in. And to be fair, we've done everything right. We've defended well, and we've looked good going forward. We just haven't finished the chances, and we are killing them, it has to be said as well. Anyway, Marquez now, he gets into a good spot. In the end, it was given to Fran. Well headed down. Wirtz now just needs to be smart with it. In the end, was well tackled. And here they come again. Are we going to lose another cup final? You know, I'm getting a little bit of PTSD, like last year's cup final. They didn't put the game away, and then all of a sudden, we don't win. I am a little bit pensive now. Wirtz could win that, good boy. And here he goes, the 16 finishing Wirtz. Can he score another in the cup final? You bet he can. Wirtz picks it up on halfway, beats his man, the 16-year-old, who is 7th of the year, and he's second in the cup final. It is now 4-2, and the 2-goal buffer is restored. In the end, a poor back pass. It looked like a Bromby highlight for 3-3. In the end, Wirtz picks it up. To be fair, their keeper should do a lot better. He's had a pretty good cup final apart from that, their keeper, but that is all that matters, is it's now a 4-2 lead. At the moment, they were looking okay. Elkenborg goes long. Got to make a change here. Frank's coming back from injury, and he's going to be part of my World Cup squad. Might get him off. Anyway, long ball cleared away. As we speak about getting Frank off, he picks it up, driving at people at will. Into Frank, back to Fran, beats a man, goes for goal, well over, pause the game. We are going to get Forsberg off. I'm going to get Kenny into there, and thank God can go wide for now, I think is what we're going to do. And Kenny's just going to play this role, because to be fair to Kenny, he can play it like decently well. He just doesn't have the vision to do it. But he can play it decently well. You know what? We'll get a Krill Angelov out there, because he's not the worst at it. And he's coming back from injury. So why not? We'll give him a game to come back from injury in. And to be fair, Rafael Albrecht has had a really good game, so we might get Biho out there as well, just to try and get him some sort of form in this system as well. But 2-0 to the good. Expect to see me bring the George on as well. To play at left wing. Fran for Kenny is not a bad option as well, because we do not have Andreas on the bench, and Kenny can play right wing as well, which is not bad. Anyway, Biho on the ball, driving for a centre mid, goes for goal. That is very well wide. Fran's not going to be risked here either. Kenny can come into there, and that's 3 changes made, and the George will probably be number 4 for thank God as well. Time ticks away here. Getting into the last few minutes, the George will go out there for thank God now as well, if we can make the change. Yes, we can. And that's my last change of the match. 10 minutes to go. We're 4-2 up here in the cup final. They've done absolutely nothing. They're lucky they scored 2 goals, which kept it kind of respected for, a bit more respect in the scoreline for Bromby. And if they score a third, I'll be livid, because they have not deserved to even have scored today, really. They've had 2 chances, and the first one was good keeping. That was cleared into the striker that Munizaga won it off, and then fell to Thorpe. And the second was a good finish by Ulmet, but it came out of nothing. Maybe that's the thing about guys with pace, though. Maybe we could have gone with more. Anyway, a long ball looking for George, and if he won that, the flick-on was on. Anyway, Kenny does enough, and Marquez Diata, good ball to the George. I wouldn't mind if Munizaga's passing was a little less direct, but at the same stage, this is the first real game I've noticed him really doing it. They're going to score again. Ulmet's in. Maybe I should have called him up for Dane Shitty. 4-3. Hang on. I thought we were 4... Okay. Thought we were 5-2 up. time ticks, you better not score another one. That cup final has no right to be that close. That cup final has no... That cup final should never be that close. Ever. They scored every chance they went forward with, basically, that we saw. In the end, it's a double. So last year we should have done the double. Should have been 3 doubles in a row. Instead, it's a double and then a season where we choke the double and a double again. We're starting to really become the best team in Denmark. If we weren't already, this season kind of confirms that, we're so far clear. We won it with so many games in hand, and now it's another double, and the squad is just going leaps and bounds. Munizaga really happy, isn't he? Doing the cartwheels. By the way, I've said it many times, but the animations are really cool. But yeah, this cup final had no right to be 4-3. They just long ball, just over the top, thanks for coming sort of stuff. And we're not on the most highest line ever played as well. But yeah, they've had 8 shots, 4 on target. 3 of them have flown in against a world-class goalkeeper. Right, and we've had 27 shots, 15. And who says on another day we don't score 10? But yeah, look, at the end of the day, we've won the cup final. And if there's anything that I've learned over the last few years, the side-bank pocket in semi-final and final is the most hardest games in Denmark. The league, whatever, it is what it is. But the semi-final and final seems to be the place where I get FM the most. We can dominate semi-finals and lose and score. Teams can have 2 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals and win a game 2-0 away from home after we've won 3-1 away from home. And in the cup final last year, we never should have really lost that cup final. And next minute, it turned into Silkeborg being one of the best teams in Denmark for half. And like this cup final here, they had no right to even be in it. But with 4 minutes at a time to go, they could have scored one more for 4-4. So maybe, look, I wouldn't say anything about the system, but maybe there's something that could be looked at come end of season as well, but something that we won't look at in this episode. Can I just say, though, Wirtz, even though we haven't got him a face yet, we will, just has gone bonkers there and has gone and got himself the man of the match there in the cup final. That's, I think, his first man of the match. He might have got one in the league, actually, but I think that's his... it's his second man in the match of the season, but he apparently got one in the league. Which one did he get one in the league in? It might have been actually that last Midtjylland game. I thought Neff beat him for that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Enough rambling, Damien. We do the double. Wirtz has scored a couple in the cup final, which is what I wanted as well. And it was convincing apart from the scoreline, which makes it the most convincing or not. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, YouTube, I'll see you guys for the end of season review. We'll recap how we finished off the rest of the year. We'll talk a bit more about the squad, the loanies coming back, and what we're going to need to buy, and etc. But yeah, that is part 1 of the season review done. And after that, we have officially done the double in Denmark yet again, back on our perch. And hopefully it's more of the same for many seasons to come. Welcome back, YouTube. It is time to recap and review this season, which is what? Season 10, Season 11, Season 10? I'm like nearly sure it's Season 10. I have it in my title, which I know I have it on stream. Links down below. We are currently live on stream. Yep, Season 10, the end of Season 10, which is nice. And yeah, look, what a year it was. We've done the domestic double yet again, but it's a year where we have... dominated the league properly for the first time. We've had years where we've dominated, but, it's always been a bit close and a bit tight. And you will admit, after about 14 games played until we beat Copenhagen at home in that 88th minute, Copenhagen didn't lose a game. They had a few draws and a lot of wins. And, even though we've only lost the one game, which we got FM'd by Midtjylland early doors, I think second game in or third game in, actually, it's probably Copenhagen now I think about it. That was with us, and then they fell off a cliff. Their coach got sacked, and this year we have dominated to an extent. Fran wins your player of the player signing of the year, and how do you say no? The guy has been absolutely amazing. This is the first time I've seen a winger in all appearances score more than 10 goals for me, and I play a very heavy system. Usually the wingers chip in with like 5, 7, 9, but Fran has scored 20 this year with 16 assists. The man is absolutely amazing, and like I said at the end of the start of the episode last night, and it's a new day obviously as well for this episode, we are now just looking for players that are going to fit the team that would get into my mess Champions League winning squad, my Sunderland Champions League winning squad or my HK Champions League winning squads from the last 3 years, because we're now at a stage where we have so much depth for Denmark that we have a good enough squad to probably dominate Denmark for years, that it's now just about getting in the right players that are good enough to be world-class with a few years of tutoring, or players that are, 30-odd that are good enough to win Champions Leagues that are world-class or, absolutely incredible without being world-class, just to progress the save, because we're now at a stage where we've just, we've got a lot of good depth in, and we've got a lot of good, we've got a lot of good players that are leading for Denmark and are decent players in Europe in their own right, but they're not Champions League winning players. I mentioned Eugene Neff last night, Australian international. Love the guy in terms of what he does, and he's very physical. But he's someone that we need a team. He's someone that we need to eventually replace. Now, he's probably one of the last guys to replace, but, he wouldn't get into my mess team, over out Nori. He would not have got into my Sunderland team over Miranda. He would not have got into my... he would not have got into my HK team over Centeno, the Mexican we picked up on a free on FM18. That's the kind of thing we need to go. With Fran, though, you look at him, you go, you know what? He probably doesn't get in the team over Haller, or he doesn't get over the team over Hadzic from Mess, but he probably was on par with Gomez at HK, right? After Gomez was 30-odd. He's definitely a player that, we've signed. You look at him and go, this guy can play in Europe. This guy can do it in the Champions League because he's good enough. Got the pace, got the mentals, and got the technicals. The signing of the year on a free is worth 9 million, unreal. The George... the board absolutely love the George on a free. I do too, but the George is just like Eugene Neff. He's very good. He's a great player to have, but he's the perfect backup player to have. If you had to throw him in Europe, he's got the physicals and the mentals to do a job. His technicals a little bit, yeah. If we're going to play these inverted wing backs, I really need to go out, and I've said it, and this is why we're training Yeppy to play inverted wing back. We need guys that are technically absolutely brilliant, guys that are mentally really good and physically really good, but more importantly, technically can shoot from distance, can pass a ball, can play a defense-building pass, along with the tackling in that. And where the George is such a good player winning the ball, we're now at that point in the save, and that's what I'm really going to highlight in the season review, that we need to go out and buy players that are going to be world-class or are already world-class and are within our budget. Now, because I've got the World Cup coming up and my first friendly is actually today, we're not going to see in this episode what budget I've got. I would imagine for the last couple of years, we've kind of kept the budget that we've ended the season with. So I'm going to guess we're going to have about 18 to 20 million, give or take, a little bit of tax either side of that we're going to have to spend. So guys like the George, Eugene Neff and all that. On the same side of it, Gamma for me is a 19-year-old that has pretty good world-class potential. He hasn't had the best loan spell, but he's physically 6'4" and an absolute monster. Imagine this guy playing a full year in Denmark, a year where we're going to probably win the league, even carrying a player. This guy has the potential to be world-class. If we're going to get guys in, you may as well get guys in that have that potential. You got to remember that if he hits that 3.5-star potential, he's a leading player in Denmark, right? He hits 4-star potential, he's a star player in Denmark, which means he would be a very good player in the Premier League, if not, towards the leading kind of players in the Premier League. Because you look at Munizaga, and you've got, you got Raul San Sebastian, Real Sociedad, chasing him, and they're top 4 in Spain, make the Champions League most years, if not every year at the moment. So star play for me is really good to pick up. If I can get a lot of star players in Denmark, which is one below world class, they're going to be good enough to probably win your Champions League. What I'm trying to highlight here with Gamma is that I think this guy is probably worth investing a couple years of him playing first-team football. Next year we'll play him there, and then the year after maybe one more, and then maybe look to sell Marquez, getting a world-class centre-back in a couple years' time with our reps a bit more higher. But Gamma's had a couple years, he's going to be 21, and I think by that stage, those physicals will all be in the 14. Pretty close to it. Maybe not the strength or maybe not the acceleration. Be one of the two. It depends on what we train. But the rest will be 14s plus, and that's going to be good. His technicals, though, for a centre-back aren't bad, but they're not great. But I do think, yet again, if he's playing week in, week out, the best facilities in Denmark, when he comes back from being on loan, because we bought him and he's on loan there, Gil Vincent have done a decent job. We bought him off them, and then they wanted the loan back for the year. I was happy to play him first-team football. This guy's going to come in and really do and really see what we can do. Bihoy obviously came in last year. I thought this was really good, smart money. He just hasn't really developed. He'd started to develop towards the end of last year. I actually played him as a deep line playmaker and defender. He had a really good game in the run-in, which you guys haven't seen. In the last 2 games of the season, I rotated, I think, the second to last game of the season, played him as a deeper line playmaker. He got a really good, an 8. He hasn't had the best of year, but AJ's brought up a very good point to me in our DMs that, sometimes it takes international players, especially Asian players, it seems to take them that little bit more to kind of get used to Europe. It's the same as a Brazilian player. It always seems to take 6 months to a year for them to really go acclimatise to the league on Football Manager, and then that second year, they're really good. And you've got to remember, we've got Albrecht, who's absolutely unbelievable. If Albrecht leaves for 50 million, so be it. There's a lot of interest in Albrecht from Premier League clubs. If that's 50 million for Albrecht. But, and this guy could play the centre mid on attack role. But whatever, what I'm saying is this guy is going to the World Cup. He's quality, right? And if this guy is going to be your backup player to the centre mid on attack role, you have got a good midfield. And that's the thing. Centre mid or on attack, Albrecht and Biho as your 2 options. You're going to get performances. You're going to be able to rotate them. It doesn't matter which one's going to play because they're obviously both young. They're both wonder kids. Well, Albrecht still is a wonder kid. Biho's media description keeps fluctuating between wonder kid and not. They're going to obviously be good enough, world-class players that are going to probably win your Champions League. By the way, when you have those sort of mentals, with those sort of technicals and very good physicals, you're probably going to be good enough. Kirill came in, he was a free, and he's worth a couple million. He's got a bit of want around him. He's someone that I would sell, but at the same stage, if he didn't get injured so much, he would be alright. His potential's kind of just shot because of the injuries that he had throughout the year. He didn't have the most appearances. But very good, very good backup, someone that can play very good mentals, good physicals. But yet again, we picked him up on a free. If we were to get 5, 6, 7 million for him, it's just another one of these players that we picked up on a free that we turned over for big profit. And that's it. Diego, Fernando, Thomas, they're all guys we picked up on frees. The DJ is someone that I think is absolutely amazing to have picked up on a free, because he's got good passing, good tackling, good positioning, good teamwork, and he's got good physicals. Like I said in the first part of this episode, inverted wing back at the left-hand side, I think we can train this guy and get him a role there. He does everything that Eugene Neff does, but a little bit better, apart from the fact that Eugene Neff is absolutely rapid, and that's why Eugene Neff has that 4-star ability when he's on song, because he's so rapid that it makes up for the lack of technicals. Where here, I think, the DJ, with performances and learning how to play left-back, I think there's a left-back in him, personally. An inverted left-back, of course, but yeah. The Visa obviously came in on a free. This guy came in on free. And Andreas Skoo was one that I built up as a very good player for the future. And he still does look okay, but he just hasn't developed. As you can see, a new face on Andreas Skoo. We have fixed the face pack. Big shout out to Viney yet again. I mentioned it a few times already. That means Wirtz has a face. And I will be showing you that face in a second, and he looks very similar to a couple of players. It's really cool to see. Carlo, obviously, promising centre-back, looking pretty decent as well. This guy could potentially grow into something too. And to be honest, Jochen Win has got potential to be absolutely insane. Look, we picked him up on a free. Have a look at him physically. He's getting to the stage where at 17 years of age, and he's looking this good, that we may have to start giving him minutes at right wing. The backup to Fran. The guy is physically unbelievable that he could play in Denmark, and he's got good technicals and good mentals that are well-rounded. Giving this guy game time, first team football, this is the sort of guy that I could probably get at an international level playing for Denmark in 4 years' time. And that's the beauty of this save. Where I have to also look to improve the squad of world-class players, I have Wirtz, I have Lars, I have Jochen Wind here at the football club, that if I can give these guys minutes, hence why we've moved the 4-4-2 now to get Lars and Wirtz minutes, right, to develop, I have to think about the World Cup, and that's obviously next episode and whatever, right, because we're not going to win the 2030 World Cup. I highly doubt it. If it happens, great, I'll be over the moon. But and I hope, there's a part of me I hope it doesn't, because then you get the progression of growing your squad. The guys like Wind, Lars, and Wirtz are going to be guys that you need to pin your World Cup hopes in 4-8 years' time. Wind for me is someone that really needs to go out and get game time. Now, he's currently on the loan list, and he's currently is wanted if the game ever wants to let me know. He's wanted by Ajax, PSV, and AIK, so it kind of just shows you that, if Ajax want him, there's potential there. I want to tie him on a new contract as well at the end of this episode. And he hasn't played a minute for me yet. I probably could have played him towards the end of the season. But we have a few right wingers. We have Jefferson, who I'm learning to play left wing to Frank. And we have Andreas, who I might sell and use Jochen Win next year as the backup. And you've got to remember that, in Denmark, a guy like this will carve it up. In the Champions League, and we lost Fran to injury, we'd probably be in trouble on the right-hand side. But that would just be the be-all and end-all. And, you got Yeppy that can do a job on the right-hand side and stuff like that. So you don't have to throw Jochen Win to the wolves, as the saying says. Just go into the deep end and see what happens. But this is a guy that would probably at some stage, and if Copenhagen Midtjylland want him on loan, we may as well be using him off the bench. And I think Jochen Win is definitely that sort of guy. In terms of the season results, if we go to the last couple of games, you see that you haven't seen, I know the stream hasn't seen the OB game as well, I think. Oh, no, they saw the OB game. But yeah, we beat AAB 2-1, and we beat Nords 2-0, and Wirtz scored again. Wirtz has been absolutely amazing. In the Champions League, obviously, crazy group. Beat Milan away at the San Siro with a full rotated side apart from our goalkeeper. And Barcelona got FM by PSV to top the group. Obviously, getting Real Madrid did hurt. I've thought about this Real Madrid game a lot. I know a lot of people have told me that, look, it's a bit harsh. I don't actually think it's been harsh, those results. A lot of people say, look, I didn't think you played too bad in Spain. I think we played quite horrid in Spain, but we were really dogged. I think conceding in the 93rd minute to lose 3-1 in Spain did hurt and probably cost us the tie. I still had belief, though, in the 4-2-3-1. And now, it's only the second time we've lost at home in the Champions League at home in 3 years in the Champions League now. And look, it's the first game where the opposition probably were better than us. And then people say, look, you conceded 2 set pieces in 2 minutes to go 2-0 down. Apart from that, you didn't concede a chance until the second half. I say that, yes, but you also look at the stats. They had 15 shot, 10 on target. They probably should have scored 2 from open play where they scored 2 from set pieces. It's one of those things. Am I disappointed? Yes. Is it progression, though? Now that we've got a wonder kid in Wirtz, the season was progress because we've got a new system now. And who knows, in the Champions League, it might hurt us, this new system, in the nutshell, like the next couple of years. But when we get the right players in for this system, I think the system could bring us a Champions League, and hopefully it will. And obviously the side back popularly, and we went through it and absolutely bonkers in the competition. And you can see there Copenhagen held us to a 1-1 draw, and then we pumped them 7-2 away from home. It is what it is, and the board are happy that we did it. Moments to remember was our big win against Esbjerg. Match to remember definitely was a 4-0 against Milan at home. Milan did not have a shot at goal until I think the 65th, 70th minute, and I think they only had 1 shot on target. It was really good. We looked amazing, and goal of the season was Fran against AB. I don't remember that. We'll go have a look on the 28th of the 4th against AAB. I'm guessing that was a league game. In terms of that, Hansen, Yeppy obviously getting the most sales as you normally would see. Orbrecht, Kenny, Biho, and Morton make it out. I'm very interested that Fran did not get more sales. But it is what it is. How we lined up, our best lineup in the 4-2-3-1, as you expect. Stock standard, Yeppy, Kenny, Orbrecht, Frank, Fran, Morton, Yeppy. I was going to read that again. Neff, Bilek, Marquez, George, and Munizaga. Note on Bilek, he's probably gone at the end of this year. He's now just getting to a stage where he's too old. Fans' player of the year was Frank, though. And I backed that. I thought Frank had a really good year. Frank was really good. It's nice to have him back. Fran was signing the year, goal of the year. Morton was top goal scorer. Most assists was Fran. Most player in the matches was Fran. Average highest rating was actually Frank this year. But Giuseppe we got 7 mil for. We'll have a look at Giuseppe too, see where he ended up as well. Danish player of the year in the autumn was Morton. Player of the year though was Fran, and media player of the year was Fran again. And what a year it was for us as well. If we can go and have a look, that's a new record, 28 games won in the season as well. But yeah. We'll go get through the rest of this stuff and then we can get into the World Cup. So they want us to challenge for the Super League again and reach the Champions Cup, reach playoff minimum. I don't think the board have understood last year that it said make the 3rd round, and we obviously were in the group stage because we won the league. And for a long time that said failed until we actually qualified for the first knockout stage. Again, it's going to say failed because it's saying reach the playoff of the Champions Cup. We're going to be in the group stage because we won the league. So the board, I don't think, has understood that. We'll accept the current vision anyway. We're going to win the league again next year. And exactly the sort of reaction I'm after. As you can see, there's no many players here because they're all on international duty. I'm also a good showing in the Champions League. Pleased with that. We'll now, once you all return from engagement, we can discuss promises. See you when we come back. Because there's no real reason to make promises to all these guys that are not here. But yeah, look, we look good. Season preview break. All that sort of stuff has been done. But yeah, let's have a look at what Giuseppe's done quickly in terms of the transfer history, because he was our big sale, and we are sweating the fact that he gets a bit of want, because we do get 30% whatever he sells on for. Look, to be fair, he's played in the Serie A and scored 10 goals and 32 appearances, so I guess the guy's done okay. He still was a decent player. I don't think, now that we've changed system to a 4-4-2 now, I wish we held him, but it's 7.5 million. I can't say no at this level. I will get a scout report on him. But we get 30% of whatever he sells on for. You got to remember that. He has an active relegation fee for 5 mil. We'd get 30% of that anyway, and that doesn't bother me. Did Empoli go down? Empoli went down. Wow, he has a 5 mil release fee. That's not good, because if a team picks him up for 5 million, we only get 30% of 5 mil. I would imagine a team will pick him up because he's probably too good to pay in the Serie B. But, that's the beauty of it. Empoli were predicted to finish mid-table. They got relegated. I wish now I didn't take that deal, because obviously we had 10 mil accepted from a couple of clubs, but he wanted to really go to Empoli, and I was like, look, he'll go for about 8 to 10 million. We'll get 30% of that. There's my 10 million anyway. But yeah, look, it is what it is. I wonder, actually, if I go to the transfers and clauses, can I sell that on? On the outs, on the ins. Giuseppe, can we sell that on? No, we can't. That's okay. Look, we'll get 30 million of 5 mil, 30% of 5 mil. So it's 1.5. We're still going to get what? How much did he go for in the end, Giuseppe? Still going to get, still going to get what? Just over 8.5. We're going to get about 9. It's still fine. That's not too bad. I thought the guy was okay. Who knows? Maybe if we really want to shake things up, we could bring him back. We still get 1.5 million out of the 5 million we spent, so we get discount. But I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, look, what a year it was. It was a good year. I'm going to have to go here, go to the schedule. Let's see Fran's got that 1 goal of the year quickly as well. It was a 3-0 win against AAB. Don't know if that was home and away. It might have been here. 3-0 win. Fran scored in this game in the 45th minute. I'm struggling to remember it. But who knows? Another good game that we played really well. And that was back when we had the 4-4-2 going. Interesting. So let's have a look. Important to note with the 4-4-2, I do think I'm going to get rid of the long throws, but I'm not sure. Okay, he's picked it up from his own half. Unless this is light from outside the box, then yeah. Good run from Fran. I understand what Football Manager's given a goal here because it's a good run from deep, but I think we scored better goals this year. But it is what it is. All right, YouTube, though, that is going to be the end of episode 104. We need world-class players. I'm telling you right now, Bilek's not going to be here this year. We might look to sell him on, if not be third choice. I am definitely going to make sure that, thank God, is not starting the deeper line playmaker role next year. That is for sure. By the way, where's his face? He looks very much like a certain someone called Lars. It's going to make me do it like this, isn't it? They are extremely similar. Extremely similar. But Lars got a little bit more of a comb over and a little bit more of the blue eyes. Wirtz looks a little bit shorter in stature and has a little bit of the hair. They look like brothers. They could have been cousins. Who knows? Maybe they are cousins. They're both from Sevenborg, right? They both are from Sevenborg. Let's just say they're cousins, and the cousins are going to lead us maybe one day to Champions League glory. Who knows? But from Damo and everybody else here, I'll see you next episode, which is going to be the start of our World Cup journey in episode 105. You'll see the squad we picked. I've let you know right then that Wirtz has been picked for this World Cup squad. You will see me and ah about how I picked this World Cup squad. And next episode is going to be the start of our campaign with the friendlies, scouting out Burkina Faso and Jamaica. And yeah, the next few episodes, 2030 World Cup. If there's ever a time to subscribe, it is now. I'll see you then. Thank you and goodbye.